Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. First, I need to thank each and every one of you for making out time in your busy schedule to be here, most especially at the time you were supposed to be at home having your rest. We are members of the League of Ndokwa Professionals. The primary reason why we are here is to talk about the injustices being meted out on Ndokwa people. When I talk about Ndokwa people, I'm talking about Ndokwa, Shokokwa, and Federal Constituency in Delta State by the Delta State government. Sequel to the newly approved construction of roads in Delta State, spread across the regions with the exception of Ndokwa land, and the recent executive bill of Governor Ndokwa to Delta State House of Assembly to upgrade 3 higher institutions of College of Education, Agbo, to University of Education, and my campus of the Delta State University to Delta State University of Science and Agriculture, and the Ozoro Polytechnic to Delta State University of Science and Technology, with none situated in Ndokwa/Okwane land. We hereby wish to express our regrets to the Delta State government as follows. 1. That Ndokwa land is part of Delta States with the second largest population and second largest oil producing area, and as such, we cannot be secluded from the construction of roads in the state without adequate provision for our constituency. 2. That Ndokwa land produces a huge mass of oil and gas resources that contributes to the 13% oil derivation fund accruing to Delta State government every month from the federal government, and as such, Ndokwa land should not be discriminated against in the distribution and allocation of projects in the state. 3. That it will amount to gross socio-economic injustice to leave Ndokwa land without any meaningful developmental project, as this will amount to lack of inclusiveness in governance, especially when the area contributes heavily to the revenue generation of the state. Our demands: 1. That we hereby call on the state government to review the road construction projects with immediate effect and make the necessary adjustment and include roads in Ndokwa land in the projects, avoid protests, social unrest, and or legal action. 2. That we hereby call on the Delta State Governor, Dr. Ndokwa, to send an additional bill to the Delta State House of Assembly to cite a university with immediate effect in Ndokwa land, among other things. 3. That henceforth, the state government should consider Ndokwa land in her policies and give her a pride of place deserving of it in the scheme of things for the purpose of economic integration and social justice. 4. That we urge the Delta State government to look into our demands and respond to this press release within the next 14 days, failing which we shall have no other option than to proceed against the state to seek legal redress. Thank you. Chief Engineer Tony Amici, President, League of Ndokwa Professionals, and on my left-hand side is Barrister Ovansi Feli, the Secretary, League of Ndokwa Professionals. Thank you very much. We are also using this medium to call on all appointed Ndokwa representatives in government and all Ndokwa elected representatives in Delta State of Assembly, Federal House of Representatives, to wake up to their responsibilities. They should understand that the primary purpose for their appointment and election into the Delta State House of Assembly is to represent the interests of Ndokwa people and not their personal interests. It amounts to gross negligence and dereliction of duty if they keep mute in the face of these gross injustices being meted out on Ndokwa people. Now, like you rightly stated, what is our level of interaction with our representatives? Now, we have people in the State House of Assembly and then in the Federal House of Representatives, which through various groups and forums will draw the attention to the injustices being meted out on Ndokwa people. And to the best of our knowledge, as we speak today, nothing has been done. It remains the same. You know, sometimes last year, I want to believe you guys are aware, when Ndokwa youth took to the street to protest against this marginalization, we remember vividly that the Delta State government sent the same people we elected to represent us to come talk to us. And subsequently, our people were invited to Asaba where they were kept in a hotel. After a few days, nothing happened. The governor never saw them, nor even spoke openly to address these issues. So we feel that it is either our people, have betrayed us or betrayed, their oath of office, the purpose for which we elected them, or they are doing such, for personal interest. And that's the reason why we want to make this open and then look at, explore every other alternative, by seeking legal redress to ensure that, the Commonwealth of Delta State is, that we're included in the Commonwealth of Delta State. You know very well that Ndokwa people are very peaceful people. We don't believe in violence. We don't fight. When you look at the history of oil production in Nigeria, almost every other ethnic nationality have been at war with oil companies or with the government, but we do not take part in that. We don't believe in violence. We believe in negotiation, and that is why we are saying this, and then we're also going to write to the state government. If we don't get answers, we'll proceed to the competent court of law, to address these issues. That fear of favor, that since the creation of Delta State, the Ndokwa/Okwani federal constituency, have played second fiddle to other constituencies in Delta State. So from the inception of Delta State, led by the then Governor James Onanefi-Bori, to this present administration, we have been completely neglected in all facets. In all facets. So these issues, we've discussed it on different forums created by Ndokwa sons and daughters. Attention of our representatives has also been drawn to, from time to time, but there seems to be no change. So it is either those, like I rightly stated before, who were elected to represent us are complicit in this action, or they do not know the reason why they were elected. But be that as it may, we also have the God-given right to call our governor to order, to draw their attention to what is going on. And whereby they do not listen to us, the only option available to us is to seek legal redress. We do not believe in violence, like he said. We don't believe in protest. We don't believe in fighting the states. We are not going to carry arms. We know we have good people within our judicial system, that will look into these matters, within their merits, and then give judgment, and then force the states, to comply with those judgments. So this has been on and on and on and on. I mean, it is rather very unfortunate that for a constituency with numerous oil and gas companies, working there, contributing grossly, to the revenue base of the state, nothing is there to show. Sometimes people ask questions, why don't we hold the federal government accountable? But to us, we cannot hold the federal government accountable because the primary reason why the 13% derivation, was given in the first place is to address all of this. And to the best of our knowledge, the federal government has been discharging their duties by making sure that Delta State, most especially the oil producing areas, are getting this 13%. So the big question is that for Ndokwa land that has been contributing, majorly to the revenue base of Delta State, what has Delta State done in return, to show that a 13% derivation that the federal government is giving them on monthly basis, is being reflected. So these are the reasons why we are saying this out, and we will also appeal to the federal government to also draw the attention of the states. We can't take it anymore. So we want them to address these issues. It is pertinent to note that since before the only meaningful presence of any government presence in Delta State was the prison that was built in Kwale before the war. Before the war. So how do you explain, that for a region that is contributing immensely, to the revenue base, of the state and the federation, that we have nothing to show for it? This is simply because either the people we elected to represent us are accomplices with the state governors or the state government, or they have decided, to play deaf ears to our cries. So like we keep talking to our people, We do not want violence. We believe that we will go to the courts of competent jurisdictions and address these issues and get judgments and ensure that Ndokwa land is well represented. The Maritime University is nowhere close to Ndokwa land. It's an enjoy land. So, yes, our people might definitely benefit, by going to study there, but it has no presence in Ndokwa land. That's to start with. Then secondly, on the issue of schooling our representatives, over the years, many of us felt that these people that have been elected should be able, having the proper understanding of what the region is, of what Ndokwa land is, they should be able to discharge their duties, effectively. They are well read, they are well exposed. But unfortunately, what we saw over the years, is gross neglect. And that's the reason why the League of Ndokwa Professionals was created, to tackle all of this head-on. So I believe that with the forthcoming election, there's going to be a lot of changes. We want people that really have the interest of Ndokwa nation, the Ndokwa land at heart, to represent the Ndokwa people, not people who want to go there just for the purpose of representation or just to make them for themselves. So all of these issues have been looked into. We're taking count of all of them, and I can assure you that come 2023, there's going to be a major change. Yeah, the only institution of higher learning in Ndokwa land today is the Technical College, Kwale, which we believed that the state government, should have deemed it fit to even upgrade it to a polytechnic. They never did. It is also pertinent to note that when you look at institutions across Delta State, when you come to Asaba, you have the College of Education, you have Delta State University, the Anwai campus. When you come, to Delta South, the Warri axis, you have the PTF Warri, you have the University of Petroleum also within the same axis. When you go to the Central, you have Ole campus. Then you also have Delta State University, Abraka. You also have Delta State Polytechnic, in Oara. Now the question is that, as at the time this polytechnic were being created, we have the Ogwashiko campus, which I'm a product of. We also have, the Ozoro campus. We also have the other one in Oara. We have School of Nursing in Agbo. We also have a School of Nursing in Nufoma and all of that. So are you telling me that they never took note that the Ndokwa nation does exist? That at least one of these schools should be sited in Ndokwa land? So what we are saying is that the Delta State government, should with immediate effect, one, upgrade the Technical College in Kwale to a polytechnic, and two, site a university in Ndokwa land. We deserve it. We merit it. Because we are contributing, immensely to the Commonwealth of Delta State. What we are asking is not out of order. We are asking for what we believe is our right. Ndokwa nation needs to benefit from all of these things. We know that there have been constituency projects, from the Senate to the Federal House of Reps. But as we said earlier on, all of these things have been looked into. The League of Ndokwa Professionals is a new body that was created, to tackle all of these things head on. And then different arms of this body, have been mandated, to start talking with them. We want to see their scorecard. We want to see exactly what they did, So we are not just stopping at this press conference, because at some point also, we are also going to be appealing and also calling for a forensic audit on whatever claims that they are going to give to, especially in the Sopadek in Delta States. So when you talk about the Sopadek, the body responsible for the oil producing local governments, in Delta State, we've also had people, from our constituency that have represented us in the past. So we also want to look at their scorecard and then call for a forensic audit to look at what they did and whatever they've claimed, to look at what was given to them by the Sopadek in terms of project and money that was given to them, and then they should be able to tell Ndokwa sons and daughters that, while I was representing the Sopadek, this is what I did. And then the Superec should also tell us, what have you done for Ndokwa land? What have you done for us? So all of these things, we are going to tackle them head on. We are going to look into them. And whereby people are found culpable or in connivance, to defraud Ndokwa people what rightly belongs to them, I want to believe that the law will take its course. So we are going to look into all of these things, and then we are going to continually engage with them until we go for election again in 2023, whereby we want to carefully, extract those who want to represent us, and then look at the agenda, and then tell them what we want, because it's going to be negotiation going forward. It's no longer going to be, because you have money, you want to come and win an election, so you're going to come and sit down with us. We want to negotiate with you. You want to represent us, yes. So what do you want to do for us when you get there? So all of these things are things that we're going to look into, going forward. Land is strategically positioned in Delta State. From agriculture to education to oil and gas. We have the human capital. We have arable land for agriculture. So when you look at all of these things, if government truly have interest in Ndokwa land, I want to believe that all of these areas are going to be properly harnessed, to generate revenue and then increase the GDP of the state. Thank you.
And to add to that, Ndokwa land is the host community for the major oil companies you have in Delta State. Virtually all, okay? Ndokwa Ukwane land hosts these communities. And with the oil exploration, gas flaring, and the rest of it. Now, Ndokwa Ukwane land is very strategic in Delta State. And it is quite unfortunate. What we have seen over the years is that there have been, consistent discrimination and disregard to that region. And what we are saying in effect is that the equitable distribution of the commonwealth of that state is what we are demanding for. We are not here to fight government or to cast aspersion on the personality of anyone, but we are saying that in the interest of justice, peace, and equity, it will be better for the state to distribute the resources in a way that there will be inclusiveness in governance. And that is the only way to really lead people. Because, as you can see, we have the commission of 13 roads, the approval of 13 roads by the governor, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, in December 2020. None of these roads is located in Ndokwa land. And then you have the current one, the 3 universities, the 3 higher institutions that is meant to be upgraded to universities. None is in Ndokwa land. And we have a lot of issues with things like this. So we have put forth our demands, and then we are calling on the state to act accordingly. And we have given the state 14 days within which to, do that, failing which will have no other option than to proceed legally to get redress. The only option open to a civil-minded person who do not want to engage in violence is legal action to get redress. And then let me say something about legal action. People believe or people think that going to court amounts to vindictiveness or vendetta. Well, that is not what it is. It is the avenue, the channel that is open to anyone who is aggrieved, okay, to seek legal redress. And what you do there is to call the attention of the court, the authority, to the dispute at hand, and then make a case with evidence, and then get judgment accordingly, and then ask that the judgment be enforced. That is it. That is our own representation in leagues of Ndokwa professionals. We are not going to go to the streets. We are not going to carry arms against the state. But what we can do is to seek legal redress as civil-minded individuals who understand the law and who also understand that economic injustice is one of the most devastating conditions we have in our respective communities. So the channel for which we have decided to address this issue is by first of all reaching out to the government in question and then asking them to do the needful, failing which we will resort to the legal action as stated. Ndokwa land is the host community for the various oil companies you have in Delta states. And with oil exploration comes gas flaring, environmental pollution, water pollution, all kinds of pollution you have in that axis. Now, you have a situation where this same region, people are gradually developing kidney failure, lungs disease and all that because of blindness because of the gas flaring and the environmental issues. And this same region, okay, is the reason you have 13% derivation from the federal government. This same region is the region that produces a huge chunk of mineral resources, human resources that is developing Delta State. But then the same region have no meaningful developmental projects to show for it. Why the state, is approving and awarding contracts in all other locations. Like I said before, in December they approved 12 roads, upgrades, and new ones. None came to Ndokwa land. The university, none is in Ndokwa land. No meaningful project at all. So this is a call on the government, like we said. And it is important to note that the resources of that region is transmitted even to other regions, like Okpai is a host community of the largest gas plant in Africa. Okay? And from there, you know what that amounts in terms of resources to this nation and the Delta State in particular. So what we're saying in essence is that you cannot be contributing this much to a state and be living in abject poverty. The people of Ndokwa land, their source of livelihood is ruptured, their water is polluted, and their means of sustenance is completely extinguished by gas pollution and environmental pollution. So what we are saying is that let's have a fresh beginning, a new start. Let there be inclusiveness in governance, because this same region, Ndokwa land, voted for the present government, okay? And then they contributed their human resources, their natural resources, their everything to the government. So the least the government can do for us is to come to our aids, to build hospitals, site universities, site projects, build roads. As I speak to you, there's no road to my village. As a lawyer in this country that is contributing hugely to the development of the Nigerian law, there is no road to my village. So I am crying here to the state government in particular to do the needful. To do the needful. This is nothing personal. They must, as a matter of urgency, with immediate effect. That is why we called on the governor to send an additional bill to the State House of Assembly to cite at least 2 universities in Ndokwa land. Because Ndokwa, you have Ndokwa East, you have Ndokwa West, and you have Ukwane local government. So we are calling on the government to do that with immediate effect. And we're also calling on the government to, bring other projects like hospitals and other developmental projects and make that region, give it the desired respect that it requires so that Delta State can move forward. Thank you.
Sorry, before